How many would you be willing to put to bed? He said 12. 12 children. And in my head, the surprises were from how many women? Just like he was anticipating my questions, he said he's going to get married to 4 women. Now, maybe somewhat religion is playing a role in that, or some form of belief that have transcended from one, one progeny to the other, as the case may be. But when you look at some of the issues affecting the Northeast in particular, and in these cases having children who are, who are poorly fed and the rest of that, it can be alluded to the number of kids that they give birth to in those families, because in some northeastern states, people have 13 children. And one of the reasons the young man alluded to was because he would have more children to go to farm for him. That is more like a reversed belief. It's something that we have gone past as a people. So for those of the people who offer humanitarian services to people in the Northeast and some other places that are subject to such problem of malnutrition, the best thing would have been to advise them on the need to carry out adequate family planning, to plan their family well, and to make sure that despite the fact that there is an arable land before them, they should understand the peculiarities of their state as of the time. Because right now, the Boko Haram menace is sweeping most parts of the Northeast, and a lot of families are struggling to survive. A lot of crops are being destroyed. People can't go to farm because they have the insecurity feeling and idea in their head. So it affects the children. And you see some children, they are lean to their bone. You can immediately see their body structures x-raying right before them. And it's a major problem that Nigerians have to deal with almost every day. These kids are innocent, so why bring them to the world if you can't feed them? A young child, I can imagine. Before now, I can't play with my food. No, I can't play with my food. As a kid, I always pursue, I can take 4 meals in a day at intervals. So people say we have 3 square meal. I want to believe that we have more than 3 squares to that meal as a kid. So when a child does not get well fed, there's every possibility that they will get, their body system will not function as it ought to. Malnutrition will set in. And this is not a problem of the Nigerian government alone. It's a problem of families and a problem of those who feel that the directive go into the world and multiply means multiplying the multiplier. So we have to watch out for these things. Citizens need to be very conscious of how they carry out the issue of birth control and handling their families and the rest of that. I'm advocating to you this afternoon on ATN Health Forum. Please watch out for those children, and if you have children whom you've already given birth to, try as much as possible to provide them the basic needs. By definition, the basic needs of every human being is food, shelter, and clothing. So if they can't get food, then they will be everywhere. There's no need for shelter in the first place, and it's one of the reasons why we even have the spread of the likes of our Marjorie children. You go to some streets I was in Benin sometime, and the number of children I saw in front of a religious center, it was alarming. And I asked, what were they doing there? They said they were begging, and their mothers were strewn on the streets with them too. So why do you give birth to children that you can't take care of? Every time we try to create a problem for the government, and it leads to some health hazard and the rest of that. Let us learn to fix these things. Let us learn to make sure that everyone is safe. The children get well fed. They have good healthcare facility. They have good food. Yes, because even the federal government of Nigeria is, I'm not saying, but I have to say this, they are not ready to help you. Look at what is happening with the National Homegrown Feeding Program. When you go properly to examine the type of food that these children consume at school, it's nothing to write home about. They consume something that, some food that are, because maybe the federal government had doled that money to say, okay, take it and go prepare food for these children. But when the people who are in charge of these things get there, because they are not accountable to anybody, they just prepare some sort of concoction for the children and they take it to their school and the children eat, and everything just goes back in circle. So there should be more advocacy, and this is one of those mediums that those in the north and those in some other part of the country, if you're thinking of giving birth to more than 3 or more than you can handle, please have a rethink. Have a rethink and make sure that you don't create much problem for the government. Yes, so this is just about how much we can go on ATN Health Forum today. Is still an advocacy. Everything fits into this box of advocacy. Let us hope that you do the right thing. Let us hope that those in the medical center are doing the right thing to keep the health facilities running, and those who are involved with the issue of giving birth to children, who've taken it as a business, that they also try to minimize the number of children they give birth to. I think there was a time when China had to, create a law that is backing children and how many child you can give birth to, one child per family or so. That in 2006 and 7 and the rest of that. So let us make sure that we do the needful and fix the country the way it's supposed to be. Don't create multiple problems for the government. There's already enough. That's I can tell you sometimes the government is not even ready to tackle these issues. If it's not for some of these bodies that are saying, oh, we want to offer humanitarian services, we want to come out there and be part of the conversation, we want to have an impact and feel, don't they have problems back in their places? They do. So these are the people that just make it known to Nigerians and to the publics out there that there is a serious health challenge we are facing, especially as it concerns the children. When a child is not well fed, they think of multiple ways to survive, because hunger definitely gives you some sort of innovativeness to get to do some things and go the extra mile for it. This has been ATN Health Forum, and it's another medium that we've been using to advocate and making sure that everyone with the issue of health do the needful and get their health intact. The conversation does continue on social media. Go to all our social media platforms, from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to YouTube. You can get in charge and get involved with the conversation. Thank you for being here with me. Tomorrow we'll return with another edition of Primetime Advocacy, of course, with a new dimension to it. But just to let you know again, on Instagram we are at Atlantic TV Network, on Facebook and YouTube Atlantic Television Network, and on Twitter Atlantic TV Net. Remember, peace and unity are always the pathway to progress. My name is Adejumo Adekunle. Good afternoon.